What's up, JEFusion fans? This is Philip, and welcome back to another video. So, let me talk about Ultraman Blazar. So, about a week ago, as of this recording, Tsuburaya has already revealed the next entry into the Ultra series, into the Ultraman franchise, which is, like I said, Ultraman Blazar. So, let me share my reactions to this news. So, first off, I actually would like to make it clear that Blazar is not the 25th anniversary special or edition of Ultraman Gaia, because if I remember correctly, like the original series, the original Ultraman Gaia aired about like 2 years after Ultraman Dyna. So, if we are going to expect a 25th anniversary presentation or rendition of Ultraman Gaia, I think it would come out next year. So basically, Ultraman Blazar is a completely original entry into the Ultraman franchise. So now that it's clear, let's move on with the rest of this video. So first and foremost, let me talk about the suit because it's a very interesting design. So Ultraman Blazar is a primarily silver-colored Ultraman with a lot of asymmetrical design, because if you look at the left side of his body, there are red and blue lines, kind of looking like blood vessels, but they are straight. And on his head you will see like crystals forming the crest, but one is just like a line going around, and one actually forms kind of a fin on the left side of the head again, or rather the right side maybe. But yeah, again, there's a lot of asymmetrical designs with Ultraman Blazar. Now, as for the bodysuit, it is, for me, reminiscent of Ultraman Nexus. Now, to be precise, like it's a combination of Ultraman the Next, which is, by the way, a movie that is a prequel to Ultraman Nexus, the TV series. So, in case anyone doesn't know, but especially with the Anfan's form in Ultraman Nexus, so it they do share like similar concepts, like a basically silver base bodysuit with some darker like kind of like gunmetal uh bodysuits, especially for the joints, and like segmented body plates. So this concept is more similar to Ultraman the Next, in my opinion. Of course, the difference is in Ultraman the Next, so the suit looks more organic, kind of looking like wood or rock. Well, in Ultraman Nexus, so it's smooth, like kind of metallic, if you will, but it definitely looks more like an Ultraman than than it was in the movie. So I will actually mention Ultraman Nexus again, because like the teaser for Ultraman uh, Blazar, as it was revealed at the end of Ultraman Decker the movie, it seems like the show may have kind of a bit more mature tone. I just in my opinion, but not necessarily like very dark, I guess. But uh, maybe it's kind of, it's going to be a bit more similar to Nexus. And speaking of which, the main character, so Himura Gento, or Gento Hiruma, rather, is a 30-year-old man who is married with a son. And going back to Ultraman the Next, so the main protagonist, Shinichi Maki, is uh, I believe in his 30s, not exactly 30 years old, if I remember, but let's say around that age. he is also married and also has a son. So, again, coincidence? Maybe, but similarities nonetheless. So, we'll get to the main character later, but going back to Ultraman Blazar himself, he is from the planet M421, or M421, if you will. And he's also a unique Ultraman because his finisher isn't your typical like plus style or L style beam finishers, but he forms a beam spear, particularly from his left hand, that he could also probably use as a melee weapon, but like throwing it into enemies like a javelin is what I am seeing, like as for the finisher itself. And this technique kind of reminds me of Ultraman Reboot's spreader rod. But in the case of Reboot, so it is a weapon. I mean, he can conjure that rod with his, with his own energy. So it is also again made of light energy or beam energy, but it's not his finisher. While again, as for Blazer, it is his finisher apparently. So yeah, he is also a unique Ultraman in that regard. And yeah, so now let's move on to the character Hiruma Gento. So Hiruma Gento is played by Tomoya Warabino, who maybe Tokusatsu fans may remember as Heart from Kamen Rider Drive. So he is, I guess, one of the oldest, if not the oldest actor to be in this lead role. So, for context, Tomoya is already 35 years old, so he's actually much older than his character. But again, seeing that, a lot of tokusatsu actors, like in their 30s, like making their debut. Let's say, for example, in Super Sentai, you have um, like Hirofumi Suzuki and Sokaku, so from Dawn Brothers and King Ojo respectively, who are already in their 30s making their debut in acting, especially in a tokusatsu show. Well, of course, considering Kamen Rider Drive came out many years ago, so of course Tomoya was in his 20s back then. But yeah, he's already 35 and in an Ultraman entry. So again, it is an interesting role. So I guess it kind of fitting that he actually also got married recently, like maybe sometime before Ultraman Blazer started filming. So I guess he kind of fits more into character now that he's married. But yeah, again, an interesting tidbit right there. So Hiruma Gento is the captain of Scarred. Now, Hiruma is the first captain of an Earth defense team, an anti kaiju or anti alien team, uh, to become an Ultraman. So we do have some cases before, like for example, in Ultraman Mebius, we have Captain Sakumizu, but he isn't the main character. So Captain Sakumizu is the host of Zoffy, so he does transform into Zoffy, especially in the final episode. But again, the main character is Mebius. So, yeah. So, for most of the Ultra series, like the hosts for the Ultras are like rookie members of their respective teams. The closest that we've ever had to a leadership, to a leader type character to become an Ultraman would be Shin Hayata, the original Ultraman. But he was a vice captain, not the captain of his own team. So again, it was the closest we could have gotten, but now we do have a captain as an Ultraman in the form of Hiruma Gento. So I am really interested in seeing the story because apparently, according to Tsubaraya's official website, it's about communication. So director Taguchi uh, wanted to envision like communication, like the host and the Ultraman, uh, like Hiruma and his family. Like uh, how will communication affect the story? Like maybe some conflicts could be avoided if we just communicate rather than fight. So if communication fails, then conflicts arise. So this is a kind of like uh, the main point of the story. So that's why you know it does have a bit of maturity into it. So again, it doesn't necessarily have to be dark. You know. So now let's move on to the transformation gimmicks because so we have the Blazer brace, if I remember correctly, if that's the name. So you have like ultra stones, which actually look more like medals, and you insert them into the lower part of the brace, and then you press the top, and then the screen lights up and spins, and it is again kind of similar to Kamen Rider Drive's bracelet because, well, yes, Tomoya Warabino was in Kamen Rider Drive, so he didn't actually transform into a Kamen Rider until he had his own spin off. So, I guess another callback right there. So another interesting tidbit because a lot of fans were kind of quick to point out that uh, Tomoya Warabino is kind of uh, similar to Hideo Ishiguro, who was in Kamen Rider Den-O. So they were both major villains in their respective Kamen Rider shows, but in the Ultra franchises, they became the main protagonists. So Hideo Ishiguro was Kai in Kamen Rider Den-O. So basically, he was the main villain, and in the Ultraman series, he was Ultraman Orb. So Gai Kunenai. So yeah, so two major villains from the Kamen Rider franchises, and then in the Ultra series or Ultra franchise, they become the main protagonists. So again, that's a very interesting thought. So I'm very excited to see Ultraman Blazer, and it will come out, I believe, in July. So definitely watch out for it. So let me know in the comments what you think of Ultraman Blazer. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and please do leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JEFusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you next time. Bye.